You fought your way through the sad, viewer-infested streets of the Pale City, faced mangled adults like the teacher and the doctor, confronted horrors that twist reality itself. And finally, you have a chance to escape. Mono and Six, an unlikely pair, come to a moment where they leap across the last hurdle. Six stood where a crumbling bridge began as Mono leapt across a seemingly endless void, reaching out his hand to her as they have done countless times before. Six grabs hold, and after a pause that spoke louder than any word ever spoken in Little Nightmares, she let go. But why? This is the question I've seen plenty of Little Nightmares fans pontificate about over the last few years. Was it just plain betrayal, destiny, or maybe Six had other reasons? Today, we'll dive deep into that mystery. We'll look at theories, clues, and hidden layers to figure out why Six let go. But before we do that, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join us over on the Discord for more Little Nightmares deep diving. It's important to remember the partnership that came before the betrayal, the journey that Six and Mono shared. In Little Nightmares 2, which happens before Little Nightmares 1, Mono rescues Six from captivity. Whether it was wanted or not, Mono goes full Shining and axes down the door to Six's room. She's terrified at first, as would anyone be when an axe slams through their only escape. She's leery of him at first, but their partnership grows silently, but surely. They save each other's lives on multiple occasions and definitely have a dependence on each other in the face of all these strange horrors they discover in the nowhere. Six, a 9-year-old girl in a mysterious raincoat, initially learns to trust Mono, maybe despite what this world and the real world previously taught her. Mono likewise cares for Six, seemingly from the beginning, looking out for her as they navigate the hunter's property, the water they cross, and then, of course, the Pale City. And by the final chapter of the story, Mono and Six have a strong bond, one not just based on words, but actions. And that's what makes the ending so surprising and devastating. You see, the Thin Man, who is at the center of the signal tower's power in some way, is actually Mono. Mono, at some point, had fallen into a loop with the Thin Man, and from what we've learned from the new Little Nightmares book, The Lonely Ones, the adults in this world sometimes take on apprentices of sorts when they find a child. Perhaps the original person who ran the signal tower passed the responsibility down to Mono, and now he is stuck in this loop until he can do the same to someone else. This is all theory, but nevertheless, toward the end of this story, the Thin Man captures Six. Right in front of Mono, in fact. He separates her from her soul? Or something like that at least. Six's physical form is ripped away with the Thin Man while a shadow of her lingers behind, then fades away. This shadow is still full of mystery as to what it represents, but Mono risks it all to go after Six to save her, or whatever is left of her. In the signal tower, Mono frees Six from the monster form she's become while under the influence of the tower, courtesy of a giant music box that had entranced her. After that, time begins to fluctuate even more so, and the tower begins to crumble away and collapse. Behind the very walls of the signal tower is a fleshy chaos that isn't talked about enough. Eyes surrounded by tender flesh pulses and undulates as the walls tumble and they flee. Six in front, Mono traveling right behind. Mono makes a desperate leap and nearly falls short, but Six catches him by the hand as they've done countless times before on their journey together. But this time, as you know, it goes a little differently. The shock of this moment cannot be overstated. Mono's perspective is one of utter betrayal and confusion, and players shared that sense of heartbreak in an instant. Yet, from Six's perspective, something very different was happening. And to uncover why Six let go, we need to view the situation through Six's eyes and through the logic of the world, the nowhere, that they're trapped in. One of the most prevalent and convincing theories as to why Six let go is because she recognized who or what Mono truly was destined to become. In the moments right before the escape from the signal tower, Mono faced the Thin Man. He confronts him literally face to face, and after his victory, the paper bag is gone. Fast forward to Six pulling Mono up on the crumbling bridge. She sees his face for the first time, and many believe she realized that Mono was the Thin Man then and there, or that he would inevitably become him. In this case, she knew this before it was ever revealed to us, and that idea horrified her. The very friend who saved her could be fated to turn into the same towering figure who ripped her soul from her body and imprisoned her? Now, according to this story, Six's decision isn't made from a simple betrayal or even malice, but out of fear and/or an attempt to break the cycle. Maybe she believed that letting him fall to his death here would break the cycle and prevent him from becoming that monster. A sort of twisted form of saving him, saving her, and saving others in the long run, to stop a nightmare before it began. Now, it is worth noting here that Six's actions here are hesitant. She catches Mono initially, and then the long pause as she holds his hand, looking at him in the face for the first time. If she didn't care about him, she could have let go much earlier or not even caught him if she intended to betray him earlier. I think the hesitation suggests internal conflict. Then, only after this enormous pause does she let go. It's fair to say this lends credibility to the idea that the recognition dawned on Six during that pause, a realization that Mono is the Thin Man, along with a flash of fear about what he would become. All in a short amount of time, to be fair. Of course, this theory leads to a cruel paradox. By dropping Mono out of fear that he'd become the Thin Man, Six caused the very outcome she feared. Mono survives the fall, is engulfed by the signal tower's flesh, and over years of solitude and despair, he does grow into the Thin Man, completing a tragic time loop. Six's attempt to prevent a monster's rise ends up fulfilling it. A classic chicken and egg scenario. We don't know if Six understood this paradox, likely she did not. All she saw was the frightening truth that her friend and her tormentor were one and the same. And so, out of terror, she let him go. In Six's nightmare reality, eliminating the threat seemed like the only choice. The second theory I found interesting focuses on Six's emotional state as well as the thought of escapism. Throughout Little Nightmares 2, the signal tower broadcasts this hypnotic spell that basically captures the viewer's mind. The whole Pale City is controlled by television-fueled trances. This is certainly escapism incarnate, similar to how gluttony is shown so shamelessly in Little Nightmares 1. But Six had her own form of escapism too. The music box. While she was in the signal tower, Monster 6 was transfixed by a giant music box that kept her pacified, or at least in a peaceful, dreamlike state. It's as if in this state, she was somewhat shielded from everything going on around her in this scenario. You could tell it was something particularly special to her. Why? Well, we don't know. But again, in the book, The Lonely Ones, we get a first-person view of what it's like to be thrown into the nowhere. Much like how Ruse mysteriously has a pocket watch in her pocket right when she enters the nowhere, maybe Six started with a music box. Maybe it's a last memory of who she once was when she lived in the counties. And Mono destroys it. Mono destroys her single source of safety and drags her out of her pleasant illusion and back into the harsh reality. I'm not sure if the nowhere is reality, but I'll let you decide. From Six's perspective, Mono's intervention was anything but heroic. It was painful. It was frightening. And it's apparent because every time Mono struck the music box, Six screamed in agony. It's apparent Six was physically and emotionally hurt by the music box being damaged. Now, this viewpoint can be a slippery slope because Six, in this case, is very close to the viewers, who, when you turn off their TV, their escape, yeah, they're pissed. They mob around you, clamoring to get their escape back. In the initial moment Mono sees Six in her monster form, she's peaceful. She protects the music box. Even if you use the hammer against her, she lightly pushes Mono away, not even hurting him. And there is a theory out there that before Mono starts attacking the music box, Six looks like she's letting down her guard and leaves the music box open to share this escape with him too. This echoes, of course, all the way to Six holding Mono, and in that split second, Six could be thinking, why should I save him? After everything I've gone through? After he broke the one thing that gave comfort in this world? Thus, Six letting Mono fall in this angle can be seen as an act of rage and pain. But crucially, this is not a premeditated betrayal. It's an involuntary heat-of-the-moment act. As the tower falls around them, as she recovers from being turned back into a child, she would be left psychologically reeling. It's possible Six wasn't even in the right state of mind to think rationally, so she was more apt to letting go. Beyond specific trigger events, Six's betrayal can also be attributed to her overall trauma and the loss of innocence she suffered in the signal tower. When the Thin Man captured Six, it didn't just physically hold her, it ripped out a part of her. In the game, when the Thin Man grabs Six, a dark, glitchy ghost of Six, often called Shadow Six or her glitching remain, is left behind. This implies that some essence of Six, perhaps her innocence, her trust, or good side, were ripped away from her. Little Nightmares 2 has a hidden collectible of glitching ghost children, and collecting them all triggers a secret ending where Six confronts a ghostly image of herself. This imagery strongly suggests that part of Six's humanity was removed in the tower. Six's own glitched reflection and the onset of her infamous hunger, we even hear her stomach growl in the secret ending, indicate that by the time she escapes the tower, she is no longer the same innocent girl. She is on the path to becoming a monster herself, the cold, hungry predator we see in Little Nightmares 1. So what does that mean for the moment on the ledge? Well, it means Six at this point is mentally, emotionally, and possibly spiritually broken. Maybe she was missing the part of her that felt empathy or loyalty. I think this theory is possible, but also maybe the saddest and simplest. And in those terms, the separation hardened her into a more selfish survivor. It's also worth noting and interesting to see when Shadow Six shows up. She only appears at times of extreme hunger. It seems like she's signaling or directing her to make choices maybe the normal Six wouldn't have made initially. Ultimately, why did Six let go? Well, the answer seems to be a combination of factors rather than one simple reason. Six was a frightened, traumatized child who had just been through a living nightmare. She recognized something terrifying in Mono, perhaps seeing the specter of the Thin Man in him, and felt a surge of fear. At the same time, she was reeling from Mono's betrayal of her, shattering her only comfort and dragging her back into a reality she hated, which filled her with anger and pain. Add to that a deep-seated survival instinct and broken trust, amplified by the signal tower's corrupting influence, and the stage was set for tragedy. But what do you think? Does Six deserve all the hate she gets? Why does Mono decide to take off his paper bag at that moment? Let me know in the comments. And with that, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end. It really means a lot. Please like the video, subscribe. We got the Discord. I already told it to you at the very beginning. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Peace.